All right. Hello, everybody. It is March 17th, 2023. We are 17 days into March. We have 13 days left of this month, and then we're in April. It is Friday. We got through the week. This has been an interesting week for me. Not too good, not too bad. I pitched one of the most legendary angel investors of all time on Monday, and I fucked it up, but that's I don't know if I totally fucked it up, but it definitely wasn't the best. I'll probably make a video about that over the weekend, but it wasn't the worst either. It was just I went a little too fast. Nonetheless, still got to recover, still got to keep going, still got to get to the end goal, which is ultimately continuing on with life because everyone dies and you can only keep going forward. Martin, what's up? Paul, Devon, background, Philip, William, Geis. William, Ahad, Cameron, Secco, Jack in the Box coffee. It was not Jack in the Box. It was Dunkin' Donuts. Vincent, Amit making a pick in his car is basically providing evidence for an offense. I'm calling the police. It was at a red light, so you can't really say anything like that. Michael, what's up? William, what's up? Thank you all for being there. Raul, thank you for being here. Star Buccaneers, good morning. Nothing better than coffee in the morning. This is not coffee. This is a original latte with caramel because I don't know how to drink coffee because I'm a little bitch. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, the old fallback of nihilism. Yes, that's when shit goes bad, when you mess up an opportunity, when things don't go exactly how you plan, you remember that nothing even matters in the first place because we're all going to die. And that brings a little bit of peace to the inevitable problem that we are all dealing with, which is trying to figure out meaning and purpose in our life. I agree. You focus a little bit too much on the problem. Now you define the problem and attack the solution. Yeah, I agree. I mean, let's see. It's going to be interesting to see if his team calls me back. It's going to be very interesting. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but we'll see. We'll see. I think out of all the startups, objectively, we have the most potential, if I'm being honest, and I think we have the most progress out of all of them as well. But who knows? We will see what ultimately happens. I actually think there's a good thing that has happened as a result of this that I'll probably talk about on a video coming up soon. But the experience with Jason, I think, is actually going to help the startup, even if we don't end up getting him in a very weird way. But last night, a lot of different stuff happened. I was like, oh, I think this is actually going to help. All right, let's get into the market. Silicon Valley Bank has gone bankrupt, or they have filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. At least the parent company of Silicon Valley Bank is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, this was an interesting one because ultimately we thought the bank would still be able to survive to an extent, and they were recruiting startups to get more of their deposits back in. And I've heard a lot of startups in Silicon Valley actually say they want to go back to Silicon Valley Bank because they went to a Big Four bank and it sucks working with a Big Four bank. And that's the reason why Silicon Valley Bank was in business in the first place, right? These technology companies actually trusted that Silicon Valley Bank was a better way to do this. Now, the Chapter 11 process, a quote here, will allow SVB Financial Group to preserve value as it evaluates strategic alternatives for its prized businesses and assets, specifically SVB Capital and SVB Securities. So ultimately, this should be helping Silicon Valley Bank. They have about $2.2 billion of liquidity, but the bankruptcy will allow them to move further to get there. Caramel is sugar. Yes, that is true. Caramel is sugar. YouTube failed to send the notification the last 2 days. That's not good. YouTube needs to do that. I missed the full shirt reveal. The shirt says, "Lucky me, I see comedy." It's actually a merch from Andrew Schulz. He's one of my favorite comedians, and this was me trying to support him and get his merch. All right, let's open up the market. We've got a little bit of a bloody market in the morning. We don't have the friendliest of markets. Last night, do you guys remember at around 2 p.m., power hour, as we like to call it in the stock market, we mooned. Like Sofi went from like 530 to 551. Now it's 540 in the pre-market. ARK was up at $40. Now it's at 39.43. A lot of stocks were just up kind of randomly. The market decided like, hey, actually, we're fine with this. Now those same stocks are down a little bit pre-market. Palantir 795, Roku 65, Zoom 70, Coinbase 67, DNA, Ginkgo Bioworks about 130 in the pre-market. Tesla 184. Tesla's actually relatively flat pre-market, but it's not down, which is a good thing. And so some of these stocks are actually, not doing too bad. Amit reminds me of the spokesperson for Micro Machines. He has the world record for the fastest talker. Well, it's a gift and a curse, I guess we can say. What's the fire on your left arm? It says fashion. That's like his brand. It says fashion on it. His whole brand is like fashion with a U. I don't know. That's why he does it. Okay, so this was interesting. We got in a little bit more of a decrease in where we saw the market going from last night. And a lot of people ended up thinking that, is this still live? Can you hear me? Why does it feel, can you guys see me? Because on my phone, I can't see me, but you guys should be able to see me. Let me know if you can't see me. I don't know why on my phone it's coming up that. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Yeah. It's coming up. The picture's coming up. Okay. It's good. Good. Okay. Yeah. So last night, I mean, there was a lot of news that said that obviously things are going to be okay. Especially with FRC getting billions of dollars of injection. So FRC down 20% in the pre-market. What happened yesterday was a bunch of banks came together and they said, we're going to put approximately $30 billion into FRC to secure its deposits. And banks kind of decided that, hey, if we put this money into FRC, there's not likely a chance that there's a bank run, because if FRC were to collapse, then even more regional banks would collapse. So the big news yesterday, which I think caused a bit of the rally as we got into 2 p.m. around that time in Power Hour, was these banks basically deciding we're going to secure FRC to the best of our ability. Now, one of the things I saw yesterday that was incredibly interesting was what the Fed's balance sheet ended up looking like as a result of what the FDIC is doing to prepare to be able to make sure that consumers or that depositors are made whole. And if we come here to this tweet, this was an interesting one. If you look right here, the Fed balance sheet, it was up about $300 billion in assets added to the Fed balance sheet in the past week. So there's the balance sheet going down, 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 down. A lot of that is because the Fed is selling, quantitative tightening, et cetera. And then boom, we just added $300 billion right there to 8.6 trillion. And again, the reason for this was because we had to make sure that depositors remained whole. What impact is that going to have not only on inflation, because that's going to be a big thing, but also on how the Fed has to decide if we're going to go for 50 or 25, which is going to be, I mean, that is the debate next week, 50 or 25. Are we getting 50? Are we getting 25? And we're going to see what happens from there. Negative 23 degrees here in North Dakota. Oh my goodness. I've always wanted to go to North Dakota, but negative 23. That's crazy. Create Packed Podcast morning. Thanks for being here. Ray, good morning. Yes, and you didn't wear green. Yeah, I didn't wear green today. I don't know. It seems like we're going to have a little bit more of a bloody day. Sofi at 545 flat as well. Oh, some big news on Sofi. Anthony Noto bought 45,000 shares yesterday at $5.39. Look, if the CEO keeps buying stock, the way I'm interpreting that is Sofi is getting some of the beneficiaries of deposits. Sofi also increased its APY to 4%. So, now you've got 4% coming in. I think Robin is at 4.115. So they're becoming incredibly competitive with the rest of the market. But when the CEO is buying 45,000 shares, maybe the CEO is seeing something. I already mentioned they're paying about $1,000 for referral for doctors as customers. So if they are seeing some level of potential increase in deposits or just potential increase in users, that may be one of the reasons why he's being a little bit more bullish. Morning, brother. Thanks for the live. Anthony Johnston, thank you for being here as well. Amit, can you shout out my cousin Nick Herr? It's his birthday today. Shout out to you, Nick Herr. You have an awesome cousin, JS, for him to mention you on the live stream. So, Nick Herr, shout out to you. Have a happy birthday and enjoy your birthday, because it's 1 year closer to death. So, congratulations. You're about to die soon. Sasky Rose, how is that not insider trading? Well, it's insider trading is refers to selling, right? That's when the SEC gets mad, because they're like, hey, Anthony Noto, you're selling it at $5. And do you know something that's going to happen that's going to cause it to go down? Now, you have scheduled sales, which don't matter. But if the price drops immediately, which is what happened with SVB, 2 weeks after you sell it at $287 and then the price goes to zero, that means you made 287x on your money, theoretically, because the thing was going to zero and you knew that before everyone else. Or if you had the perception that you knew that before everyone else. Buying is not necessarily the same. Now, granted, my hypothesis is that Noto sees the business doing well, therefore he's buying, but that's not necessarily the same as insider trading. And I think the SEC is just way more lenient on it because it's not selling, selling is what they hate the most. Amit, I don't think you realize what you said. I mean, it's true. You're closer to death. Like that's what it is. You're closer to Amit, bro. You were going to get canceled. Happy birthday. You'll be dead soon. I don't care. Clip that. Put that anywhere. I don't care. Put that across the internet. I do not care. That is objectively true. You're closer to death. But the beautiful thing is, if you embrace that you're closer to death, then you actually do something about it and enjoy your life. That is the paradox of existence. All right, here we go. 9:30 a.m., March 17, 2023. The stock market is now open. Wake your ass up, because every single day, not year, day, you are closer to death. And you should probably confront that if you want to find meaning and purpose in your life. FRC down 16%. Here we go. Accelera 745, SoFi 546, Credit Suisse 205. It actually got $54 billion from the Swiss National Bank. So I guess Credit Suisse is going to survive, which is probably a good thing for the macro economy, because that should not die. Meta at 201. Why is Meta at 201? Because this ban of TikTok is becoming even more likelier. So Meta ballooning past 200 might be a little bit overvalued at the moment, given how much it's run. We will see from there. Nvidia, goodness gracious, 259. Talk about a stock that is defying all odds. GPUs, AIs, yes, they're the future, but this is a company that it's a 58 PE. I mean, this is one that was at 209 just a couple of weeks ago, and most people were shorting it at 230 because of its earnings gap up, and now it's at 259. So Nvidia doing phenomenally well. Shout out to anyone who holds Nvidia. This might be the time to think of just getting rid of a little bit of Nvidia from the top. Just to be a little bit safe. But if it keeps going, then it keeps going. As a result of Nvidia going up, AMD also nearing towards $100. AMD, let's go to the 6 month, was at 54 back in October, and we got closer around to that, around 63 back in January. So it's up really nicely from October, and really nicely from January, up very nicely from October. Semiconductors doing pretty well. Looking a bit leading into death. Well, there it is. What else do we get? What else do we have right here? Only woke culture would cancel that. Yeah, that probably would. Shout out to the wife for taking care of 3 kids while I watch your video. Yeah, shout out to Samrat's wife. Samrat, make sure you show her this. Thank you, Mrs. Samrat, for doing this. I appreciate you letting him watch the morning streams. Adding 50K to Nvidia puts today. Interesting. So Gabe is continuing to go down the Nvidia put strategy. Look, I can't blame him, because this thing looks overvalued, but the market can be more irrational, and it can keep going. It is 72. Wait, no, it is 84 on the RSI. So it is more than oversold from a technical perspective, or overbought. But it's going to keep chugging on, I guess, and we'll see where it goes. Looking at banks, Bank of America, $28, about 1.9%. JP Morgan, 127, down 2%. So banks are still down a little bit more. HIMS down 2% at 973. Coinbase up $70. They introduced something in Singapore the other day where they're allowing more users to have safer transactions there. So that's going to be good for them. Tesla 185, Apple 155, Square 74, Spotify 128, NASDAQ 11,718. This guy was at 10,900 on Monday. So it's done a really nice 800-point rebound as we end out Friday. And hopefully we stay around that level before we go from there. Bitcoin hit 27,000. So Bitcoin is liking the fact that the Fed is theoretically printing basically $300 billion more and adding to its balance sheet. Bitcoin up very nicely from 15,000, $10,000. So if you bought it at 15 grand, you're up $10,000 on that money. If you bought one whole entire Bitcoin, still a little bit too volatile for me. That's also probably the reason why Coinbase is doing well. If it rallies up to 30,000, that's close to the level where the president of El Salvador started buying Bitcoin. And I think we're going to get a little bit more momentum if people start seeing it get to there. Oh, Nick Herr. That's why you guys were laughing. Oh my goodness. I thought you guys were laughing at the thing I was talking about, death. You guys are crazy. You guys were, no, I'm not getting canceled for that. Nick Herr. Well, I clearly said her. So you guys are ridiculous, bro. Oh my gosh. The internet. Wow. I really didn't even, I thought you had a friend named, wow. I got it. Well, shout out to the internet, because the internet is, it is the internet, but I heard the H. So I don't, I hate you guys. I hate you guys so much. Yeah. The video isn't showing up as live on YouTube. I'm literally looking at the YouTube home screen and it says 195 waiting. YouTube's being super stupid, and I can't even see the view count on my stream hard, but I was laughing at your terrible happy birthday. Wow, you guys are ridiculous, yo. You guys. I'm sorry to anyone who I offended on that. That was not. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of like in 5th grade, people were like, say the name Hugh and then Jazz, and we were like Hugh Jazz, and it's like, are we children? Are we children? Is that what we're? Is that what? See, I get happy for people's birthdays because I'm excited because I think birthdays are a thing to celebrate. So I thought the guy actually had a birthday, and I was like, oh, you should, celebrate your birthday. Birthdays are. My mom taught me that birthdays are important. You should celebrate them. You should care about birthdays. But you guys are so interesting. Well, you got me on that one. All right. Let's look at TikTok being banned and why that's potentially good for Meta. Let's get into that one.
Social media stocks soaring yesterday on the Biden administration's calls for ByteDance to spin off TikTok. Julia Borston joins us now with more. Hey, Julia.
Good morning to you, Joe. Well, the market reacting to that news that the Biden administration is pushing TikTok's Chinese owners to sell their stakes in the popular app to avoid it being banned here in the U.S. TikTok saying that a divestiture would not address U.S. security concerns, that their system that's already in place for third-party monitoring will. They also shot down a report that the company could sell to Oracle and Walmart. But the uncertain future for the app, which has 100 million U.S. users and an estimated nearly $15 billion in revenue this year, sent its rivals' stocks soaring. Yesterday, Meta shares gained nearly 4%, Snap more than 7%, Pinterest about 6%, and Alphabet shares about 4%. Now, those stocks are slightly lower pre-market.
All right, I got to interrupt you because Star Buccaneers just informed me Enphase is under 195. I am officially, I didn't even see that. I am buying $1,000 of Enphase right now. I've been waiting for Enphase to go 190. I've been waiting for me to officially have a DCA on Enphase. Here we go. We're doing it right now live. I've been waiting for this for a while. Thank you, Star Buccaneers, for that because I probably would not have noticed that. Enphase officially 193. Now, me buying it means it's probably going to go a little bit more lower, but that's okay. We are officially starting a DCA on Enphase. We'll do $1,000 of it. So that's what, like 5 shares? That's 5 shares. All right, there we go. We're buying Enphase officially. Vitaly's going to be so happy I've done this. Boom. There we go. Enphase at 193. Now, Enphase could be argued as a bit overvalued from here still, but I like Enphase. I've done enough due diligence on the company. I trust Vitaly on this one. And so I want to at least begin the DCA. It doesn't mean you're going all in on Enphase right now. For those that don't know, Enphase makes microinverters under solar panels. They are growing like crazy, 80-70% year-over-year growth. I've done plenty of videos on them on my channel with Vitaly in them. But let's start a small DCA. Small DCA on Enphase and go from there. Cool. Gabe's mad at me now. Yes, Gabe's mad at me now. So Gabe actually just texted me a picture. We have Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Citigroup, several other banks to provide First Republic with the liquidity it needs to serve its customers. Wells Fargo and 3 other banks noted above will make a $5 billion uninsured deposit into First Republic. Wow. So that's why, that's about 6 banks, $5 billion each, $30 billion. There you go. Thanks for sending that, Gabe. So you've got the biggest banks in the world, Citigroup, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, putting $5 billion in uninsured deposits, meaning if they lose it, they lose it. $5 billion is not a little bit amount of money into FRC in order to secure FRC. So there we go. Now that you started, I can get it even cheaper very soon. Let's hope so, man. Let's hope Enphase goes down. Enphase, again, I've been waiting for Enphase for a while. At 220, at 240, it was ridiculous. At 340, it was insane. But under 200, I like it. And the other reason that this is important is because if this is nearing into the 2008 cycle and we've really started to get to the point where we're beginning to form a little bit of a bottom, I think you want to have some cash in the market. And I, personally want to have my cash in the market and see how it goes from there. My good friend, Chris Patel, we were talking last night. He is 100% cash in the market and he is well diversified into a lot of different stocks. And he's ready to see, kind of where things go from here. Either you believe we're heading to 3,000 on the S&P. And even if we do hit to 3,000 on the S&P, DCAing along the way is not the worst strategy. Freelancer Finer, Vitaly, Finer. Freelancer Finance, Vitaly just bought 2. Vitaly, I'm with you now. I'm an Enphase shareholder. Finally, I'm here. By the way, Vitaly, I know we didn't do cowbell this whole week. Next week, we have to officially start when you're not filming. We're going to be doing Daily Cowbell live at night, every night. And people have been asking for it, Vitaly. I floated the idea to a bunch of people. They were like, yeah, you got to do it live every day. So we're going to be doing live every day at night, because in the morning, it's just too much editing, too much time, and it makes us inconsistent. So I'd rather do it every single night. So officially, Vitaly, we are shareholders of, or I am a shareholder of Enphase. There it is. I'm a shareholder of Enphase. The basic bull case on Enphase is that the solar markets, or the market for solar energy has like 1 to 2% penetration. There's very few companies, Enphase and SolarEdge and a couple of others, that are actually doing what needs to be done when it comes to penetrating that market, particularly when it comes to being able to build products that companies can use. And again, the microinverters under solar panels are what really matter, not the solar panels themselves. Enphase installation process, all of that stuff. It's an untapped opportunity. And this was at 140 around March this time last year. So if we can get it back to that level at 140, this would be amazing. Meet Kevin has been big on this stock for a very long time. One of the guys in Vitaly's Discord, Sonny, made about $10 million from this company because he bought it at like $1 back in 2017. Just imagine 2017. Let's look at the chart of this. By the way, the RSI on a technical perspective is under 30 as well. So it's showing that it's a bit oversold. I mean, in 2017, if you knew about Enphase at 65 cents, let's just do something fun, just for fun. Let's say you put 10,000 at 65 cents and you didn't sell. That would be worth today $2.9 million, about $3 million bucks. I had 10,000 in 2017. I had 10,000. I was working a job in college that was doing decently well. It wasn't at, McDonald's. It was a job that was a little, nice paying consulting job in college. I had $10,000. I just didn't know about Enphase. And so could you imagine, bro? I just fuck it. I just put 10,000 into Enphase. I didn't need that money at all. I didn't have that many crazy bills, and just let it ride. I probably would have sold when it got to like 200,000-300,000, to be honest. I don't know if I would have the discipline to let it rise to 3 million, but that's insane. That's insane. Your patience to wait on a good buy on Enphase shows a lot of personal market experience growth. I appreciate that, Sasky Rose, because a year ago, I probably would have bought it at like 220, and I really wanted under 200, waited for that to happen, and it happened. And I can acknowledge that even at 200, even under 200, it might still be room to go downwards, but at least I got a price that I wanted to DCA in. And I do think that shows maturity. And I think for every, investor, waiting for their price, being diligent enough to not be over. Now, see, I'm not waiting for one. I think that's the nuance, right? If I'm waiting for 150, it's like, all right, you might never get that price. But if I'm waiting for under 200, which is reasonable, and then you actually execute when it goes to that level, and then you DCA, that's a much more healthier approach to dealing with trying to get into a position versus waiting until it's like 150 and then it never happens. And then you're, always waiting for that. Okay, let's see what else we have from here. But 1K, sheesh, I saw it. Hey, Vitaly, it's 1,000. Goodness. Let's see if it goes even a little bit lower. It's just 1,000. I don't have freaking millions like you just waiting to buy. If Kramer promotes Enphase today, Amit is going to panic. Oh my goodness. Yes. DRK, happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Okay, let's take a look at this one. I want to hear Ro Khanna. This is one of the congressmen in California talking about Silicon Valley Bank and where we go from there.
Guest represents the heart of Silicon Valley and is calling for more bank regulation in response to SVB's collapse. I want to welcome Congressman Ro Khanna from California. Nice to see you, sir, at the table, no less.
Good to see you in person.
Okay, so we've been talking all week about SVB and what needs to happen next. But before we even get to the regulatory side, because there's a lot of finger pointing at the regulators and at the supervisors, at the managements of these companies, I'm curious sort of where you think this lands, because I've taken the position, and you can disagree with me, that at some level, this entire episode was this remarkably unforced error. There were mistakes made by the management, and I have no sympathy for that. But at the same time, this was like a little, I don't even want to call it a fire. There was a little bit of smoke in the room, and which probably could have been doused with some water. But, people screamed fire in the theater, and everybody ran for the exits.
I put most of the blame on the bank management. I mean, they didn't hedge those long-term bonds. They didn't have the financial sophistication, frankly, that a lot of banks in New York have. and they were vulnerable to very large deposit holders. I mean, look, Bank of America, for example, has millions of accounts, and many of them under 250,000. This had maybe 20, 30 accounts, large accounts of a few VCs say were concerned it's susceptible to a bank run, and that was irresponsible.
What do you think about the venture capitalists and the Silicon Valley community, though, that oftentimes is talking very frequently about personal responsibility, and then all of a sudden switches gears when they need help?
Well, that's not consistent. I mean, and that's why I think that depositors need to be protected. I was joking with someone. I said, maybe now that they are advocating for a guarantee of depositors, the next step will be a guarantee for health insurance, and we'll turn them into advocates for Medicare for all. But I think this shows that the libertarian philosophy does not work, that there are times that you need government involvement.
Right.
This was the interesting thing about this entire SVB debacle is that, traditional people that are more libertarian, people like David Sachs, right, that are venture capitalists and that are libertarian, they argued that the government has to step in. And it really forced a lot of libertarians to think about the political implications of what it would mean for the free market to just do what it does. Because if the free market is the free market and people are taking their money out of Silicon Valley Bank, that is going to set a precedent for other people to take money out of banks from other regional banks, which is going to lead to a collapse unless someone comes in and backstops the entire thing from collapsing, which is what banks are doing today with FRC, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citigroup, Bank of America putting in $5 billion each, about $30 billion in total of uninsured deposits, and what the Fed did, the FDIC in particular, by securing depositors to the tune of, $300-400 billion to make sure that they are whole. That confidence in the system had to be remained, and that's where the libertarian philosophy kind of falls flat on this. Now, we had a debate last night on Google on the podcast I do with Chris every night called Late Night Stock Talks, and Google is going through some issues right now. They are currently stacking their legal team with former DOJ employees as it faces an antitrust case. Why do you want DOJ employees? Because, if the Department of Justice is suing you, it's, nice to have some of those people that used to work for them to understand how it all happens. Experts say this kind of hiring, which is common among businesses, can be beneficial to company because of the unique insight, touch, or credibility that an ex-government attorney might hold when it comes to their former colleagues. Look at Enphase. There we go. We just got the notification down 5%. I think the next, I'm not afraid to put in another $1,000 today. Let's see if we can get down to 185. But see, Enphase going down is actually an incredible indicator that it's actually red, because Enphase does not go down. Like, Enphase was stuck above 200 for literally the past 6-7 months. This is the first day where it's comfortable. I mean, it hit 197 once, right? 198 for like 2 minutes. Enphase going down means, like, to me, that's a signal that this market is red today. It's legitimately red, even though Sofi and Palantir aren't down as badly. Palantir at 790, Sofi at 542. So this is going to be interesting. Google now faces 2 antitrust challenges from the DOJ, both to its search and ad tech business. It has 93% of search market share. I think what Microsoft is doing, as bad as it is for Google from a competition perspective, it is really good for perception, because Google is going to be able to go into Congress and be like, are you kidding me? ChatGPT has 300 million active users in 2 months. You don't think we have competition when it comes to search? And I'll admit, I've been using ChatGPT over the past week because it's actually been really effective to me, way more than Google. Like, I tried searching something on Google yesterday. I could not get an answer. I just went to ChatGPT. However, it doesn't mean that it's taking away anything from Google's search business yet. And because of that, it seems unlikely that Google has like the best case to be able to say that they actually have competition. Most likely they don't. Google also works with outside counsel firms on its antitrust cases. I don't know. I mean, I think Google has an argument to make, but this is going to be something that goes on for at least the next 6-7 months. And we're going to see if Google has a way to get out of this right here. Amit, look at oil and gas prices. Enphase stock has been closely related to energy prices. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even think about the implications of that. That makes a lot of sense. Again, Enphase is if you believe in the future where there's going to be more solar than not, Enphase is a company, and Tesla obviously is a company that I would bet on. In fact, Tesla and Enphase, I think the 2 biggest holdings in Meet Kevin's portfolio in his ETF. He's done due diligence on them for a very long time, and he was talking about them when it was much lower. So I like Enphase. I think it makes sense, and I didn't buy it until Vitaly and me have been talking for about a year on it. I'm libertarian. Most libertarians think there is no role for government, just that the role is smaller than present. Yeah, I agree. Ultra right, Tea Party libertarians think that the government should be abolished, but I think most people probably don't think that should be the case. Okay, let's get back into the market and let's actually take a look at what's going on with some of these stocks. We've got Enphase at 190 now. I'd put in $1,000 more today. Let's see how low it can get. AMD at 96, ARC at 38, Meta 199 falling down below. Bank of America 28. Let's go to Nvidia. Is Nvidia holding up today? Nvidia holding up? Wow, Nvidia is holding up. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible that Nvidia is holding up. Wow, you see it on the right-hand side of the screen. I mean, things are red. It's a bloody market. But things are red. Pinterest at 26. Netflix ballooned past 291. So Netflix got back up to 305. It was at 360 earlier in the month, now at 205. And Snapchat here at 1070. Neo 860 up 1.8% today. What was the other stock I was going to look at? Yes, the S&P. Let's just see where that's at. 392 on the S&P. So we're not below the 390s yet on the S&P. This is so interesting. You've got the indices that are holding up decently well. Then you've got individual stocks that are tanking like Enphase. And then you got other stocks that are relatively flat like Meta. And you've got a pseudo banking crisis that's been averted by FRC. FRC still down 17%. Now they got $30 billion in deposits today. So is this a candidate for a swing trade? I don't know. Their balance sheet looks disgusting. If you actually go through their balance sheet, me and Chris were talking about it last night. But it looks like they're, going to be backstopped by a lot of other banks. Meet Kevin has made millions and millions off Tesla and Enphase. It's crazy. Yeah, that is true. That is true. I feel like there's been a bunch of stocks that have dropped 20-40% this year. Enphase is almost 10%. IDK, why you would buy that over symbols like Google or Amazon? It's about growth, right? Google and Amazon are not growing 70-80% year over year. And it's about potential, right? Like, again, just think of, I like Google and Amazon, by the way. I think they're great companies. And I would be buying them right now. It's just, think about it like solar market and its potential. And then you've got advertising and, e-commerce and cloud computing, which are great businesses. But Enphase, from here, you're still even looking at a potential 3 to 5x, just based on the sheer potential of it, right? And again, I think 190 is a little bit expensive for it, but from a DCA perspective, I don't think it's the worst time to get started. But I think Google and Amazon are great buys right now. I like Google and Amazon. The fact that the whole market isn't trading in the same direction feels like a healthier market. It would seem like when everything moves the same. That's just such a great comment, Sassy. When the whole market trades up or down, it definitely feels like things are a little bit off. There's a bit more fear, a bit more FOMO. The things going a little bit different sideways is not the worst. Vitaly just bought more. Of course, Vitaly just bought more. Vitaly, if you're free, I can send you a StreamYard link. You come on for 10 minutes and give the basic bull case for Enphase since people seem interested. If you're free, let me know. We'll have you on for 10 minutes to end out the show and we can talk about Enphase. What was the stock I was just going to look up? Oh, Wejo. Okay. The Wejo interview I did with Richard Barlow, the CEO, it actually got 2,000 views. I didn't think there was going to be that much interest in Wejo, but 2,000 people actually clicked on it. So that was interesting. Wejo at 43 cents. Again, my thoughts on Wejo, and I love them. These guys flew me out to Las Vegas. I have a great relationship with the company. Just not that interested in the stock. I'd rather buy Palantir. Just because I get some exposure to Wejo because Palantir to me is like an ETF for Wejo, Black Sky, Sarcos Robotics, Cellularity, Lilium. Let's go to Lilium, actually. Lilium is actually one of the better SPACs. Lilium at 78 cents right now. So, again, these are stocks that were 10, 15 bucks in 2021. I think 4 companies have a chance to survive from the Palantir SPAC complex. We have Lilium, Wejo, Sarcos Robotics, and DCFC, Tritium Charging, that got a healthy amount of money from the federal government. Literally, Joe Biden was on stage with them because they build electric vehicle charging stations. I like those 4 companies. Now, do they have a chance to moon? I don't know, but we will see. Mitt, do you think we should have different FDIC limits for corporations versus individual? No big corporation can survive on a $250K limit. Yeah, I think that's very reasonable. I think the FDIC limit should be close to 2.5 million. That makes a lot more sense for businesses. And for individuals, it's 250K. For Robinhood, it's even 1.5 million on individual accounts if you have Robinhood Gold. I just saw that yesterday. So if Robinhood were to go bankrupt and I lose all my money that's in Robinhood, I don't have 1.5 million in Robinhood. If I did, maybe Palantir can 10x and then we get there. But I would be fully insured, which is why I feel very secure putting a lot of money in. Like, I have no money in my bank accounts. I have very little money. I have a couple $100. I put everything into Robinhood because I'm getting 4.15% interest and because I want to start to get, 100% cash into the market. So Black Sky. Yeah, I forgot about Black Sky. Black Sky was actually helping in the Ukraine war. They're also an interesting company now, $1.03. They got like a $227 million contract back in September. I like Black Sky. It's just, again, these companies, I just don't see the potential they have, like Palantir, for them to 10x just to get back to their original SPAC prices. But if any of them were to, it would be Black Sky, Tritium, Lilium, Wejo, and I think Sarcos Robotics. Sarcos is the least out of those five. I think Wejo is probably the most upside, and then Lilium, I think, is a dark horse, because I think Lilium, with electric planes and jets, they signed a contract with NextJets for 150 of them back in March 2022, actually around this time. I think Lilium could have a shot. There was a short report on Lilium that never materialized. Like, there was some companies shorting them, and there just wasn't a really good of a report. Is Robinhood completely fee free for you guys? Yes, it's free, but they take off a cent when you buy it, so it's technically not free, but they make it seem free, but theoretically it's free. I have Robinhood Gold, which is $5 a month. I get access to some perks, and that allows me to use some different things. All right, let's take a look at some bearish news. We are probably in the early stages of a recession. Let's see some information for why that's the case.
Pivotal meeting next week. Let's bring in Dino Coase. He is a special advisor to the CEO of CLS Bank International. Thanks for joining us. What's going to happen next week? 25?
Good morning.
They'll do 20.
Yeah, probably 25. I'm not sure that that's the right move, though, but that seems to be
What's the right
where they're
move?
going. The right move is probably to do nothing.
Yeah,
because
not 50.
No, definitely not 50. Look, we've got a situation right now where the financial conditions are tightening. Now, I mean, some Fed speakers have said, treasuries have come down. That's an easing of financial conditions. No, that's not the case. That's the case about flight to quality, flight to safety. The banks are hoarding reserves. They're not going to be lending. This is a time to think about growth going down, not accelerating.
See what's going on in regional banks. The Dow's now down. When you get wide spreads and you get sort of volatile trading in very staid investments, what does that say?
It tells you that people are worried about that they have the wrong positioning. It tells you that they are changing their hedges. They're trying to hedge. They're trying to catch up with the risk profile that they want to have rather than the one that they have. Now, I work for CLS. We're a huge foreign exchange settlement operation. And our volumes have ticked up quite a bit over the last couple of weeks as this has progressed. So you're seeing it in equities, you're seeing it in bonds, you're definitely seeing it in FX.
The terminal rate, in your view, is now what?
We're not that far from it. I mean, because the Fed's. I mean, look, the data right now looks okay. But if you go back and, Steve Leisman probably has done this work at some point. If you go back and look at the Green Book, which is the Fed's forecast, you look at it in middle of 2001, they were forecasting, sort of growth for the rest of the year. We had already been in recession for 9 months when that forecast was made. Middle of 2008, same thing. If you go back and you look at the Fed's forecast in the summer of 2008, the question was, can we avoid recession? Maybe yes, maybe no. We had been in recession for 9 months when that forecast was made. The data get revised, and you will see at some point later this year, early next year, there will be massive data revisions. And right now, we think we're okay. We're probably, in the early stages of a recession, or we will soon be there.
Do you think that the Fed itself or San Francisco Fed, is there some egg on the face of the whole institution?
I mean, look, there should be. This is not enough.
Here's the thing. He is not alone in saying that, but a lot of people have been calling for this ultra super crazy crash recession for a while. And here's the one argument to counteract everything he's saying, the argument to counteract Gabe. Bears sound smart. Optimists end up winning. And the problem with being a bear is that inflation is going down. And it's really, really hard to keep making this argument that the entire economy is going to crash when we've got inflation going down, when we've got the PPI, CPI going down. And, it's 6% now. You get under 6% next month. Take you, let's say, another 2 months to get under or close to 5%. What happens when by October we're at 4%? We're at 4.3. And then by December, we were looking at 3.9, 4.1. I mean, these are the things where at that point, it's going to be hard to invest in treasury bills. It's going to be hard to get 5% on your money from like Robinhood or SoFi when equities are doing a lot better. Like the only reason money is leaving equities is because there's other assets that are yielding you something that's risk-free. When that stops happening because inflation is going down and the Fed has the ability to pause rates or cut or at least pause rates, equities will go up. It's just that simple. That's just what happens. And at that moment, it's going to be a question of how much has Google gone down at that point? Is Google $60 at that point? Is Palantir $3 at that point? And the one thing to remember, I think, when you're thinking of the bear cases, there are certain equities that are already down so much. Remember, Facebook was $380. It went down to 88. Like things have collapsed so much. Are there some individual equities that are overvalued? Maybe, probably. But the S&P can go down at some level. Some of these stocks, it's hard for them to keep going down because there's going to be buyers at Google at 85. There's going to be people who buy. And so that's the case. So I think it's hard to fully justify that type of thing. Gabe says, but inflation isn't really going down, and when the Fed pauses, it's going to get worse. Optimists are naive. I disagree with you on that. Inflation is going down, and we see that happening. Now, you can argue the CPI is manipulated to an extent, but it's not 9% inflation anymore. It's gone down to 6%. Now that we just need to see if that keeps happening. And we'll see. Overall, I could be wrong, right? Maybe the way I think I'm totally wrong is if inflation rebounds and it's really bad. I don't think that's happening. I also think job numbers are coming in lower than what the Fed, or higher than what the Fed wants them to be, lower, which is good because that means that there's more deflationary effects in the market. And if that's the case, then the Fed's going to have to make a decision, and the decision cannot be to constantly be hawkish. Or at least the market's going to have to decide that we don't want, or we're not going to let the Fed constantly be hawkish. Yeah, those are my thoughts on it. All right, so I think that's it for me today. I have a bunch of videos coming out today. I actually recorded like 4 videos, so we have 4 videos coming out today. One video, Ginkgo Bioworks stock. Another video is on C3 AI versus Palantir, and a juicy article I found about C3 AI trying to sue Palantir. It's going to be a really interesting video. And third is some of the dirtiest jobs in tech when it comes to Facebook and Google, and what it means in the context of layoffs and content moderation. And then finally, I'm going to do a little Google debate clip that we had yesterday from the podcast. Also, we have SoFi weekly tonight and Palantir weekly tonight. So literally we have like 7 pieces of content coming over the next 12 hours. I hope you guys are ready for that. We're like an official TV channel where we got 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Hope you guys enjoy. If not, you can catch it out later, and we'll keep going from there. Okay. That's it for me. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. Have a great Friday. Enjoy the Friday. Make sure to end the week well. If you enjoy St. Patrick's Day, be responsible, be safe. Have a great weekend, everybody. And yeah, thank you all for joining this entire week, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Hope you guys have a great end of the week. I will see you guys later today. Bye, everyone. See ya. And don't forget, you'll die soon. And that's why you've got to embrace every moment of life. Bye, everybody.